kids, it's me, Toni Homeperm, the singing diva of Long Island. Yes, it's really me, not Cruella de Vil. I know, we're like separated at birth today. But as you may have noticed, I already did a video where I showed you how I created this look using the SheGlam Deep Feelings palette. And what I've been trying to do lately is trying to figure out ways to do more than one video at a time. This way I have new things for you to see on a regular basis without sort of getting all panicky that I don't have anything scheduled. So that's what I'm doing today. So if you want to see how I did this look with the SheGlam Deep Feelings palette, I will have the link for that listed down below. But today, which is the day I actually created the look, I said, as long as I'm doing a look with this very gray-toned, monochromatic palette, which is a color story that I just love, I said, why not show you some of the other palettes in my collection that are similar to this, or, remind me of this color story. And maybe some of them are actually a little bit better. Who knows? So this is one of the newest palettes in my collection, and if you go to the video where I did this look, you'll get a complete in-depth review of it. But needless to say, I saw this on the SheGlam website, and it's a color story that I love. I love this, dark, smoky, gray, cool-toned kind of a color story, and I love the look that I created with it today. When I actually first saw the palette, now I said, I know I have palettes very similar to this, but what can I say? I can't resist them. I can't resist. I have a problem. Somebody stop me. But at least I'm doing something creative with the problem. I make these videos, so there you go. When I saw the palette, I said, in my head, it reminds me of the ColourPop Blow and Smoke palette. So I thought, let me pull that palette out for you to see. Here it is. Now, originally, it was called the Smoke Show palette, and then, I don't know, I guess there was some controversy over the name or something, but they changed it. So on the website, it's now the Blow and Smoke palette. And this is the palette. I don't want to blind you with the mirror, but here it is. One of my favorite black and gray, smoky, cool neutral kind of palettes. I've used this quite a few times for looks, and I love this palette. I really do. I think out of all the monochromatic palettes that they've made in this series, I mean, this is really one of my favorites. I think the Just My Luck is probably my next favorite, next to this, the green palette. But I love this palette. It's a beautiful palette, and I felt it was very similar, to the SheGlam palette, and I think it is. Although the SheGlam palette tends to be a little bit more brown. You can see, like, with this color, Decadence, but really very similar. I mean, I could have easily created the look that I'm wearing today using the Blow and Smoke palette, and it would have been just as good. So that's the Blow and Smoke palette. Now, although I thought the Blow and Smoke palette was the closest palette I had in my collection to that SheGlam palette, I realized as I was pulling out the palettes that I have that it's probably more similar to this one, the Baroque palette. And this is also very, black, gray-toned color story. It doesn't get as light as the Blow and Smoke palette, but I think if I put it up here, if you look at it compared to the Deep Feelings palette from SheGlam, I think they're very, very similar, because the Baroque goes into those brown tones the same as the Deep Feelings palette. And I love this palette too. I've created some really beautiful makeup looks with the Baroque palette. And so you know, if for some reason you like the Baroque palette, I think this palette works just as easily as a dupe for it. And this probably is less expensive. I think it was like $6 on the website, I think. I'm not sure. But it's not like a ColourPop palette is all that expensive anyway. So really you couldn't go wrong with either one. Next in that series of palettes that I have in this color story, I have another favorite, the BH Cosmetics Venom palette. And here it is. This one tends to go lighter than those other palettes. You've got those brighter tones, but it does get pretty deep. It doesn't actually have a black. That color there is it's almost sort of like a dark gray purple. But I've done a few looks with this, and actually just this past weekend I used this palette to do my Cruella look, and I loved how it came out. It's a beautiful palette. I mean, the nothing bad that I can say about this palette. I think out of this collection, which was BH Cosmetics Poison Shock collection, it's either this one or the Absinthe. They're like my top two. I don't know which one I could rate higher, but I do love this palette. It's really beautiful. Okay, another palette that I have in this color family. This one goes a little bit more colorful, but it's the HipDot Addams family collab, and here it is. It does go a little bit more sepia, and it's got that sort of brick red color, and those are a little mauvey. But I did a Morticia look using this palette this past Halloween. I'll put a link to that down below. Actually, any of the palettes that I've done looks with, I will put the links down below, so I won't keep repeating myself. Just look down below. Okay, but yes, I did a Morticia Addams look with this palette, and I loved it. I loved it. This is just such a cute little 8-pan smoky eye color story palette. Just so good, so good. At first, when I got the palette, I was like, I wasn't sure about it, but then once I started using it and creating the look, I was like, oh, I just loved it. So yeah, I love this little HipDot Addams family palette. So good. Now another palette that I have like these, and I've yet to use it. I really should. So let me know if you want to see a video with this. It's the only Too Faced palette that I have in my collection. It's the Madonna and Too Faced Madame X World Tour palette. I think that's what it was called. And let me open it up. I don't want to blind you with the mirror. There it is. This black is really, really pigmented. I mean, it is a shimmer, but I feel like I could create a really beautiful smoky eye look with this palette. And now that I've looked at it, I played with it and swatched it a little bit, it's like it's got my juices flowing, and I'm like, ooh, I should do a look with this, a Madonna themed look with this palette. And so I'm gonna put it in with my palettes to do looks with, because I really should. It's so neutral. I mean, you almost want to say it's boring, except for that black. I just know it could be so dramatic because of that black. I mean, the other colors, if you don't have those other colors, I mean, it's like nothing. But including that black, I know I could do something really, really cool. Okay, next I have two Makeup Revolution palettes, and I don't think I've ever used either one of these either. The reason I got them was because Jeffree Star came out with the, I think it was the cremated palette, that gray-toned one, but it's not really a brand I support, but it got my juices going for getting, you know, a gray-toned themed palette. So I was looking around, and first I saw this from Makeup Revolution, their color book. And the great thing about these palettes is they're not, well, one of the not so great things is, like, it's so hard to get the palette open. My goodness. Oh, finally. It's all matte on one side and all shimmer on the other, and matte, each matte has a corresponding shimmer, and it goes from really, really light to really deep. I really should do a look with this palette as well, but just haven't gotten around to it. But as far as, needing any kind of grays, I'm sorry if that plastic insert is reflecting all over the place, but I mean, I've got basically every shade of gray, cool tone gray, that I could possibly want with this. I really do. At the same time that I was ordering that, I also saw this one from Makeup Revolution. This is their Reloaded Blackout palette, and why are their palettes so hard to open? This one, we had a little bit of a snafu when it came. That one color just sort of crumbled away, so some of it is still in there. But here you can see, again, a very beautiful, cool, gray-toned palette, and I definitely could make a really nice look with this palette, but haven't gotten around to it. Now, those are most of the, very, very gray-toned Color Story palettes in my collection. I did want to show you, though, a few notable possibilities that I think you could probably find in the drugstore. This one, this is from Kiss New York. It's their Goddess palette. And here it is. It gets a little bit more colorful. It's a little bit purplish, maroon, but you do have your gray, your black, your lighter tones. So I think somebody gave this to me, so I honestly have no idea how much it costs. I don't know if it's still available, but it's in my collection, so I thought I would show it to you. Another good one, it's a little bit more brown tone than gray, but you can definitely find this at Walmart, any of the drugstores. It's the Maybelline, the Nudes palette, and I did actually do a makeup look with this. I don't know if I did a video. I think I just did a look, and I made sure I took pictures and posted it, and I came up with a really, really beautiful look using this palette. The thing that'll always work is, especially for drag, as long as you have, like, dark colors like this. It's not black. I think it's like a charcoal and that really dark brown. As long as you have those in a palette, I mean, you can almost make any kind of a drag look work. And this is a very inexpensive palette, and I did a really beautiful look with it. And like I said, you can find it at the drugstore. And last, but not really least, it's a Rimmel palette. It's the Magnifies Shadow, and this is the Keep Calm and Wear Gold palette. But this is what it looks like. And again, it does tend to go a little bit more neutral, but here at this end, you've got some really deep colors that you could definitely use to make a very dramatic, smoky eye look with. And these Rimmel palettes are really, really inexpensive. So, if you were just starting out with makeup, especially like with drag makeup, I mean, you could get it for just a couple dollars, and it's a good way to start, practicing your technique. And a good smoky eye is always useful for a drag look. You cannot go wrong with a really good smoky eye when it comes to drag, because it's very dramatic and it really pops on stage. So yeah, really, any of these palettes that I showed you, you could make a beautiful, dramatic, smoky eye look with. I think all the looks that I've created with any of these palettes that I've used, I was always happy with the look. The most important thing is that they all have, a deepening color that allows you to get the dramatic effect with the eyes. And especially for drag, you know, the eyes have it. You really need to have a dramatic eye look when you're doing drag, especially when you're performing, when you're on stage. And you know, usually when you're on stage, you're getting washed out by lights. So a really, you know, dark dramatic eye look and lip is just really gonna pop, and you're gonna look great, and people are gonna love you, and hopefully tip you. Hopefully I'll get some tips. I need tips so I can buy more palettes, so I can do more of these videos and show you all my palettes, right? Now, if you enjoyed this little bit of a different kind of video from me today, then please hit the like button down below, and as long as you're clicking around down there, you might as well hit the subscribe and the notification bell. Don't forget, you can catch me on my other shows, God'll Get You for That, Walter, that I do with Tom Cat, and Naughty or Nice, the internet variety show that I do with Alexis Flame. And of course, you can also get all of the Naughty or Nice merchandise and the details for all of those things, along with all of my social media, all of that listed down below. So I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a different video from me today, where I just wanted to show you some of the cool toned gray color story palettes. I don't know exactly how better to describe them, but they're the ones in my collection that sort of fit the bill of being, you know, cool toned, gray themed, color story wise, yada yada yada. What can I tell you? I really don't know how to describe them, but they're, you know, they're dark gray smoky palettes, and I love them. What more can I tell you? And if you are wondering about any of those palettes, well, hopefully I gave you a little bit of information on them. So that's all that I have for you today, kids. I look forward to seeing all of you again in my next video, and I will see you real soon. Bye-bye.